Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Sir Hunt on X, live on the 15th of September 2025, coming to you from Cincinnati, Ohio, in the United States. Of course, a little downer over here in the city for the obvious reasons. I will touch on that later on, but I'm going to go ahead and get right down to it here, real quick. And it is the week two recap. Also, a stirring performance over the weekend by a standout fighter. I'll touch on that a little bit as well. But I'm gonna go ahead and get right down to it. Uh, what I like to do on football week is touch on the week two recap games. I know there's a couple going on tonight. Shout out to Emeka Egbuka, right now the early candidate for Offensive Rookie of the Year, and he showed why early on so far. The Texans defense is still nasty as it could possibly be, of course, because you have D'Amico Ryans as a coordinator. Remember, the head coach, excuse me. If you remember, Ryans was the coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers and that vaunted defense for the longest time. So defense was always going to be in his forte. Hope everyone had themselves a wonderful day today. I'm going to get right down to it. It's the recap for week two of the NFL season. Everything all over the place. I'll touch on the downers here in Cincinnati here in a minute, which I have a lot to say about that. But I'll get right down to pick these games apart. For some of you newbies here, I faltered more to the NFL content than I did the boxing, especially, of course, with it being NFL season. And this fight game basically sort of hit its interesting point where we had the fake super fight Saturday night. I'll touch on everything later. But I'll give you my quick NFL recap. I'm just going to break down one big thing out of each game and then go to the downers here in Cincinnati. Of course, there was Thursday night when the Green Bay Packers beat the Washington Commanders. Game not as close as the score indicated because Green Bay's defense is just stomping the league right now. I mean, we know that. And who could forget the game Tucker Kraft had? Excuse me. Tucker Kraft just absolutely phenomenal as the primary target for Jordan Love. And all your fantasy owners who had him, kudos. A lot of points off of him. Became the primary target. No Jalen Reed. Michael Parsons. Basically, him and that front seven just put the clamps on Jaden Daniels and the unfortunate injury to Austin Eckler. But looks like Green Bay is going to stomp the NFC the way it's going right now. Lots can change from now till the end of the season. It's week two, obviously. But that defense looks like it's lights out. Remember what happened in 1993 when the Green Bay Packers got Reggie White from the Philadelphia Eagles. 3 seasons later, that defense put everyone on lockdown, won the Super Bowl. Next year, won the NFC championship, albeit lost to the Denver Broncos. Looks like the acquisition of Micah Parsons is about to have that sort of impact. It was basically gift wrapped to them by the Dallas Cowboys. We know the reasons for it. I won't use the platform to discuss it because it's been discussed many times over. So big win Thursday night for Green Bay. Yesterday, of course, here in Cincinnati, we know the story of what happened. But aspiring effort by the Cincinnati Bengals to get the win. And another case of Trevor Lawrence, once again, not holding up to the contract that the Jacksonville Jaguars gave him a few years back. I know he got the $50-some-odd million contract around the time Joe Burrow and among others got theirs. And, of course, Jacksonville names that arena the Trevor Bank Arena. And Lawrence was just absolutely abysmal with the 3 interceptions. Almost had maybe 2 others in that game. And, of course, took the sack very late in the game, but sealed it. Jake Browning with the go-ahead touchdown. And Cincinnati's rendition of what you would call the tush push. But Cincinnati is 2-0. Of course, everybody knows the saga after that. I'll get to that after I done talk the NFL because I have a lot to say about what happened. Wild game in Dallas in overtime. It was the Cowboys over the Giants. Russell Wilson just heaving bombs to Malik Neighbors. Basic desperation bombs, but Malik Neighbors as good as any one of the wide receiver position right now. You could probably argue top 5. Dak Prescott and Javonte Williams showed up late to the party. The defense of Dallas is going to be something because they turned Russell Wilson into some form of a peak Russell Wilson as he threw for over 450 yards. And, of course, bomb after bomb to Neighbors. But the premier kicker in the NFL right now, I mean, all due respect to guys like Harrison Buckner of Kansas and Chris Boswell of Pittsburgh, is Brandon Aubrey of the Dallas Cowboys. Thank you very much. You gave me some fantasy points yesterday with that one, Brandon. Cannon for a leg, closest thing to what a peak Justin Tucker was when Tucker was booming 60-yarders effortlessly in Baltimore. Aubrey's doing the same thing. Dallas gets the win, but that defense is going to be a long one. You got the win. You got the job done. That was expected. Detroit over Chicago. I guess the overreaction talk to Detroit can stop for a minute. I mean, they hung 52 on Chicago. Kelly Williams has got the bejesus beaten out of him. And offense just picked Chicago's defense apart from start to finish. Nothing more needs to be said. 5 touchdown passes by Jared Goff. I know he gets a lot of weird things said about him. Good, bad, pretty, ugly. Look, Jared Goff is one of those quarterbacks. You're going to get the good and the bad. You're going to get both. I mean, the guy did something to get the Rams to a Super Bowl appearance in 2018 when they lost to the Patriots. So he did something right. Got into the NFC title game 2 seasons ago and the number 1 seed last season. Just the defense just couldn't find their way out of the hospital bed to show up to the playoff game against Washington. But you're going to get, that's what you get out of Jared Goff. Yes, he had a 5-interception game in Houston, but that's part of what you get. And he showed in this game what you was going to get out of him. 5 touchdown passes, just destroyed the Chicago defense, which basically was a problem. They hired Dennis Allen as their defensive coordinator. That didn't help, obviously, because they got kicked in the teeth, as what Ben Johnson said after the game. So the overreaction talk for Detroit probably is on hold right now, because I said they're going to be fine. They just ran into a buzzsaw on the Packers. Of course, the Packers and the Bears are the opposite ends of the spectrum when you talk about the NFC North right now. But a good home win by Detroit, hanging 52 on Chicago. Looks like the offense is starting to click a little bit. We'll see what happens moving forward. LA over Tennessee. That LA defense continues to beat up quarterbacks. Byron Young with a sack yesterday, the first one of 5. And he's just lighting it up at that linebacker position for the Rams. Nacua and Adams looking real good, especially that trick run by Puka Nacua where he just took it to the house early. Puka Nacua can be as good as any wide receiver in the NFL. And that duo of him and Adams could be as good as any duo. Of course, the story here is whether or not Matthew Stafford's health can hold up. So far it has. Threw a nasty pick early, but to basically spread the ball well to both Nacua and Adams. Chemistry there looks good. Defense looked like it's turned it up a little bit, especially Byron Young, who has 3 sacks already. So far, the super early candidate for Defensive Player of the Year, because he's just been a man amongst boys on that Rams defense. Cam Ward, it's going to be growing pains. So, I mean, they had a lead at one point, so Cam Ward did something right, but that was pretty much it. Basically, it was overshadowed by the fact that the Tennessee Titans lacked discipline, and that's a story of Brian Callahan in his year 2 tenure over there. Remember the longtime offensive coordinator in Cincinnati? And that's what you're going to get. But big road win for the Rams. That defense looks like it's going to do damage. Big game next week, LA at Philly. Rematch of that division playoff where it was just an absolute barn burner. And I think this one won't be any different. New England over Miami. Miami looked better, but still in the L column. I still expect them to be sellers at the trade deadline. Who knows what they're going to do with Tyreek Hill? But Mike Vrabel looks like he's starting to get things going a little bit. Offense looked a lot better, especially Drake May, who looked better this week than he did last week when they lost to the Raiders. Got the win on the road. Division wins on the road are always big, and that's what New England was able to get. I mean, moving forward, I mean, they're probably going to have to be better, especially on the defensive side of the ball, which has always been the forte of Mike Vrabel, but the defense hasn't showed up to this point. But Miami, they look better, but there's probably going to be a long ways to go moving forward. That thing probably needs to just cleanse out and start from scratch at some point. I'd be shocked if Mike McDaniel makes it through the season because the situation in Miami is a mess. Good win by San Fran on the road over New Orleans. No Brock Purdy. Replaced with Mac Jones. Mac Jones was a solid. No George Kittle either. And spreading the ball for nearly 280 yards. Did Mac Jones, 3 touchdowns. Saints didn't look too bad, but again, they're going to be competitive. Not good enough to win games. San Fran gets the win on the road on a bigger and better. Probably the premier team in the AFC right now after 2 weeks. The Buffalo Bills demolishing the Jets on odds. I thought Buffalo would win, but I think it would be like this. Josh Allen just didn't have to do much, but James Cook did anything and everything he wanted to do with 132 yards. If you have him on your fantasy, job well done, because James Cook did anything and everything he wanted to do to the Jets defense. Long day yesterday for the Jets offense. Nobody outside of Garrett Wilson net 10 yards on offense on receiving yards. Justin Fields basically couldn't do anything. After hanging 32 on the Pittsburgh Steelers, they laid an egg at home against the Buffalo Bills. But as I said, I know it's only 2 weeks in a sample size, but at the moment, Buffalo looks like the most complete team of the AFC. We'll see what happens moving forward. Wild circumstance in Pittsburgh with the Steelers losing to the Seahawks. The kickoff where Caleb Johnson is let it roll into the end zone, which basically was a backbreaker for the team. And they couldn't do they had their moments early, but as the game wore on, they couldn't do much. Aaron Rodgers was intercepted in the end zone, which didn't help. And another interception by Kobe Bryant for the Seahawks to seal it. Sam Darnold didn't play great, but they did enough to get the win. But that touch roll to the end zone for a touchdown. The talk about here over there in Pittsburgh, and it's going to be talked about for a minute. I think Johnson to be fine to rebound from that. That's one of those freak things that happens once in a blue moon. I'm sure that's going to be talked about. Pittsburgh is going to be fine. But good road win by Seattle after losing at home to San Francisco. Good confidence boost, beating their former wide receiver, DK Metcalf. And basically, that was pretty much it. And now, Baltimore over Cleveland. Everybody in Cleveland got what they had coming. I'm talking about the Browns fans and the Cleveland media, given how you guys carry yourselves all week long and the Baltimore's 30-year anniversary of their home opener. That's what you wanted. That's what you got. You made your bed. Shut your mouth and go lie in it, because you got what you deserve. The only thing that Baltimore didn't do more of is score more points on you. If they could have done that if they wanted to, because you guys in Cleveland got what you asked for. You didn't want to shut up. You still wanted to bring up what happened 30 years ago, which I'll admit you guys got the short end of the stick. You guys are right. But not worth complaining about 30 years later, because you guys calling the Ravens scums makes you guys scum, because you're the bigger scums than Baltimore, because all Baltimore wanted to do was celebrate their 30-year anniversary. And you guys in Cleveland had a problem with it. Too bad. You couldn't take it. So I guess Baltimore decided to pound it down your throats, and it was well-deserved. But particularly to this game, the Browns defense did everything they could to keep it close, but they had nothing on offense, and Joe Flacco just got murdered and train wrecked, especially the fumble recovery by Roquan Smith for the touchdown, which basically sealed it late. Lamar Jackson got going. DeAndre Hopkins looking like a good wide receiver 3 as a perfect fit for the Baltimore Ravens alongside Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman. But the thing here is, again, the Cleveland Browns fans and the Cleveland media, especially Mary Kay Cabot, who's one of the bigger cowards in Northeastern Ohio, got exactly what they deserved for how they carried themselves, how they conducted themselves all week long, and Baltimore just let them have it. The only thing Baltimore didn't do more of was beat them down more, because that's what the Cleveland fans and the Browns fans and the Cleveland media deserved for their actions all week long. Yes, Art Modell is a piece of work. He was. No doubt about it. But you guys are worse, given how you guys carry yourselves all week long leading up to this game. And Baltimore just dished it out to you. The only thing that Baltimore didn't do more of was beat you down more. Good win of the division for Baltimore. I mean, you can say what you want about Cleveland, but in division standings as the season ends, division wins is going to matter. Weird ending to this one. It was Denver over Indy. Bo Nix was better, but the defense, I guess for some phases, took a nap. And Daniel Jones continued his strong play after how he decimated Miami. Played better as this game went on. The thing is the Knicks interception to Cam Bynum, which had him dancing with the mascot, a fun thing. Looked like Denver had it won after the missed field goal, but some weird penalty gave Indy another chance, and they were allowed to kick to win. Weird penalty, but it is what it is. Problem is, at that point, the team that's supposed to have the supposed best defense in the NFL and the Denver Broncos allowed 29 points to the Indianapolis Colts, and that's where the game was lost. I mean, they could have had this game wrapped up if the defense played a lick, but they didn't. That's all that has to be said. Of course, it was Arizona over Carolina. A little bit of resurrection for Kyler Murray continues. Looked like they had the game under control, but an inability to close. Of course, it was a lucky bounce onside kick by Carolina that kept that game competitive. But the Arizona defense, put the locks on Carolina down the stretch to eliminate any kind of comeback. Bryce Young looked a little better. I mean, but they were dominated for 3 quarters. They got a lucky bounce on an onside kick just to make the score respectable. Made it seem like they had a chance to win, but the Arizona defense stepped up and basically took matters in their own hands. Calais Campbell, Josh Sweat, 2 key acquisitions on the edge. We know how effective Josh Sweat was on the edge when he obliterated Kansas City in the Super Bowl when he was with Philly. Showed it here. Got a couple sacks late on Bryce Young to seal it, and Arizona goes to 2-0. Going to be a long season for Carolina because we don't know what's going to be of this. But good win, Arizona. And, of course, the big one that took place in Kansas City, Eagles over the Chiefs. Well, you're missing 3 of your top 4 wide receivers. Who's going to be your target? I mean, and, of course, nothing particularly flashy about this game. It was a case of grit and grind. Eagles just grinded down and just played ball control for the most part and basically controlled the clock and won the game that way. Not the greatest win in the world because it's not flashy, but the Eagles got the win, and that's what it mattered at the end of the day. Kansas City is still going to be fine. Remember, they're out. I mean, Rashid Rice, we know with the suspension. Worthy's supposed to be back with the after the shoulder problem. Jalen Royals, he's supposed to be coming in at some point. But Tyler Thornton, I thought, played very good football in a receiver position. But Kansas City is still going to be fine. They still have Rita Mahomes. I mean, the schedule after this starts to get lightweight, which is going to probably favor them. The only real tough one over there is when they go to Buffalo mid-season. We know how that turns up. Kansas, of course, has bigger fish to fry, but they're going to be okay. They're 0-2, but everyone calm down. Everyone thinks it's the end of the world for Kansas. It is not. They still have Andy Reid. They still have Patrick Mahomes. They're going to figure it out. And for Philadelphia, picking up where they left off after last year, big one coming up this Sunday against LA, and it's going to be a Caduzi over there at the Vet, or whatever they call it now. And, of course, a Sunday night game was surprisingly to me. The Falcons has controlled the Vikings. No Christian Darrisaw and Blake Cashman. Ryan Kelly and Aaron Jones got hurt. J.J. McCarthy, I guess, took a crap on the bed. But the story here is that the red zone was the difference. The replacement kicker who sat down after they sat down Young Ho Koo, actually made kicks, something Young Ho Koo couldn't do last week against Tampa. That was a difference. Good bounce back win for Atlanta after the tough loss at home to Tampa Bay. So that's my NFL recap. Now to what took place yesterday here in Cincinnati. And there's a lot we got to get to. We know what happened in the second quarter. What happened to Joe Burrow in the second quarter. This was a byproduct of what has happened the narrative that was pushed by Bengals fans and the narrative that was pushed by Cincinnati media and the Bengals superfan podcasters like Drew Garrison, the captain, Zim, Sarah Elise, Kelsey Conway, among many others, who wanted Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins paid top dollar over the last 3 off seasons. And as that was happening, there's two major negligence that they intentionally ignored. And the key word being intentionally. No defense, and most importantly, no offensive line to protect their $300 million investment. And it's not just the names I mentioned, it's a boatload of them in Cincinnati. The problem with this is, and I'm going to say this respectfully, when you ask someone to get paid top dollar and you're so obsessed with paying someone top dollar, you don't pay attention to details very much. And the attention to detail, once again, among the Bengals fans, the Bengals super fans, the podcasters, and the Cincinnati media showed. And I told you guys for the last 3 years, it was going to catch up to you. It did yesterday. Because Orlando Brown Jr., the guy you threw a Twitter party for because you signed him, once again showed the whole world why that guy is not as good of a left tackle as you guys in Cincinnati made him out to be. Ravens fans, I should try to tell Chiefs fans first before Ravens fans and Chiefs fans told you guys, this guy is nothing. This guy brings nothing. And it reared its ugly head. 2 seasons ago, there's a hot Sunday night game in Pittsburgh where he was in cement shoes matched up with Alex Highsmith on national television. And Alex Highsmith made like the road runner running from Wile E. Coyote. And Orlando Brown Jr. is still wondering where he is. And go back to 4 plays before this, where it was Orlando Brown Jr. who tackled Joe Burrow as Joe Burrow was trying to lead the defense. And we go fast forward to the play that happened. It was Eric Armstead against Orlando Brown Jr. Orlando Brown Jr. couldn't keep Eric Armstead intact. Of course, the other side of the pocket didn't help either because Dalton Risner got ran over by whoever was on the right guard. And Eric Armstead burnt Orlando Brown Jr. to have that happen to Joe Burrow. That's not the first rodeo with Orlando Brown Jr. You guys in Kansas City know what happened in the 2022 AFC divisional playoff when he allowed someone against the same Jacksonville Jaguars to burn him, and we saw what happened to Patrick Mahomes' ankle in that particular game. Not the first time Orlando Brown Jr.'s gotten a star quarterback hurt. We saw that 2 years ago in Kansas City when he let the guy burn him so he can get to Patrick Mahomes, and we know what happened with Mahomes' ankle. We know the story about that one. Bengals fans still accuse Mahomes of faking the injury, which is the most despicable claim and cowardly claim you can make in Cincinnati because it wasn't faking an injury. And what happened yesterday? It was a carbon copy of what happened when Orlando Brown Jr. was playing left tackle against Kansas City and got Patrick Mahomes hurt. He got the same thing happen to Joe Burrow, a mere carbon copy. Difference is this one had more significance than what happened 2 years ago. 3 years ago, I apologize. 3 years ago when Orlando Brown Jr. got Patrick Mahomes hurt because he couldn't make a block the right proper way. And because of that, Mahomes had the ankle injury. And yesterday, against Eric Armstead, same thing. Made the mistake. Armstead got to Burrow's ankle. And everyone here in Cincinnati is trying to give Orlando Brown Jr. the biggest pass possible. It's not going to work under my watch because yours truly being one of them, try to tell everyone this guy, good guy off the field. I'll give you that. He's a good guy off the field and a fun guy. I met him. Terrific human being. I'll give you that. But on the field, you guys made like he was a reincarnation of what Anthony Munoz was when Munoz was here in Cincinnati. Fail because he's not even anywhere near. He's not even near the caliber of Anthony Munoz's backup. I don't even know who the heck that was back then. That should tell you where the problem lies. If we have Bengals fans, the Bengals super fans, the podcasters or whatever they call themselves, and the members of the Cincinnati media who are every bit to blame for what happened yesterday, just as much as Orlando Brown Jr. and the rest of that Bengals offensive line. Simply put, this was a result of the narrative that the Bengals fans and the Cincinnati media, among many others, pushed for the last 3 years to have their top 4 guys, Burrow, Chase, Higgins, and you can add Trey Hendrickson with his restructure, paid top dollar, while they willfully, intentionally, and cowardly ignored the biggest needs of their team, which is protect the investment. And now they're blaming ownership for it. I refuse to blame ownership for one reason. I've seen this for 35 years. It's who they are. You're not going to make a tiger change the stripes. If I point the finger at ownership, it's a waste of time. The Bengals fans, the Bengals super fans, the podcasters, and the Cincinnati media, you all need to look at yourselves in the mirror right now, because this was a narrative you guys wanted. This is a narrative you forced down everybody's throat because you want to carry yourselves like a bunch of cowards. And now your $275 million investment is likely done for the rest of the season. I mean, they say 3 months. I mean, they're not even going to be in the playoff hunt for 3 months. I mean, if I'm the Bengals, by midseason, I'm telling Joe Burrow, sit it, you're done for the season. Because you might as well forget it. They're going to lose their next 5 games. I mean, talk about Minnesota, Denver, Detroit, Green Bay, Pittsburgh. They're losing those 5 games. You guys got what you asked for at the end of the day. Joe Burrow and the players deserve much, much better. They do. Not with the fan base or the media that they have in Cincinnati when it comes to the Bengals fans and the Cincinnati media carrying themselves like cowards the way they have over the last 3 to 4 years. They're the ones that have to look at themselves in the mirror, because that was a result of their actions. And you're more than welcome to come to me and lay off the block button, because I'm not a hard guy to find. I'll say the same thing to your face, because you guys over there are the problem, not the ownership, not the coaching staff. Reason being, I'm not blaming them, because I've seen it for the last 30 years. Tigers won't change their stripes, and it's basically a waste of time blaming them. Nobody ever saw me come out and say, we need to pay Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Trey Hendrickson top dollar. That never came out of my mouth, because there was a bigger picture and attention to detail that needed to be looked at, that the Bengals fans and the Cincinnati media blatantly refused to see and blatantly refused to acknowledge, simply because they were so obsessed with top dollar as a way to say their organization wasn't cheap. Was it worth it at the end of the day? Was it really worth it? 3 times in the last 6 years, this guy's going to likely miss a season. And this guy's been sacked 45 more times than Andrew Luck after 6 years. And we know what happened to Andrew Luck at the end of the day. And Carson Palmer told you guys before Super Bowl 56, when he played the Rams, that the Bengals front office is not going to invest in an offensive line. Bengals fans and Cincinnati media called Carson Palmer a liar for the longest time. Who was right at the end of the day? Everybody in Cincinnati, when it comes to Bengals fans and Cincinnati media, needs to shut up and look at themselves in the mirror. There's some real soul searching that needs to be done. Because what happened yesterday, was something everyone tried to tell you for the last 4 years, including this guy talking to you right now. I'll be on more NFL shows this week, and there's going to be more people that's going to get it. You don't know me like that, and it's time you guys do. Which brings me to Jake Browning. Look, he was hit and miss yesterday because he hadn't played a real game since the 2023 season, the last time Burrow missed a game. You're going to get the good, you're going to get the bad. That's why he's a career backup. I mean, one thing he has that the rest of the team don't have is balls. I'll give you that. Jake Browning has balls. I mean, there was no quitting that guy. I mean, he got beat up. He made 2 terrible decisions on interceptions, but he managed to bounce back. Perfectly placed pass to Mitchell Tinsley on a great, probably the catch of the year so far. Google it, Mitchell, that pass from Browning to Tinsley, perfect pass and a great catch, and another great one at T. Higgins to tie the game. And of course, we know what happened in the end. The leap with the help of the tush push to get over the end zone. Everyone in Cincinnati is looking for another quarterback. You're past it at this point. You're past that at this point. Nothing's going to happen unless you want to fork out draft capital, because that's what it's going to take. Everybody's saying Kirk Cousins. Everybody's saying Jameis Winston. Forget it. It's not going to get you guys anywhere, because Kirk Cousins has played a meaningful snap in about a year and a half. And Jameis Winston, there's a reason why the guy's been a career backup over the last 3 years. You better ride or die with Jake Browning. I'm going to be there October 16th when Pittsburgh comes to Cincinnati. Actually, not me, but my show will be there. I better see about 90 and 95% of you guys wearing Jake Browning jerseys, and supporting Jake Browning. Because you want to talk about a blue-collar hard worker? That's Jake Browning. A blue-collar hard worker. He showed it when the Spanish salvaged a 500 season 2 years ago when he replaced Joe Burrow. Great comeback against Minnesota, where he just basically just never say die and just kept coming and coming and coming. There better be people wearing Jake Browning jerseys and backing Jake Browning from this point of the season on. Is it going to mean we're going to win games or not? I don't know. I'm not a fortune teller. I'm not a crystal ball teller. But support this guy, back this guy, because it'll say a lot about you if you do. I mean, I said all along, is this guy going to be the second coming of Dan Marino or anybody like that? No, he's not. He's a career backup for a reason, and there's a reason for it. But support him, back him. There better be people wearing Jake Browning shirts, Jake Browning jerseys, and when he takes a field every home game, you better be cheering him and supporting him. Because if you don't, you're a coward. Point blank. People already tossing themselves out the season. Actually, there's a poignant moment after Jake Browning threw a second interception where everyone left the game because the Bengals fans show their cowardice day in and day out. And of course, there's fights in the stands after the injury because Bengals fans show their cowardice day in, day out. And when Jake Browning won the game, that should tell you everything. If you want to go ahead and leave the game, do me a favor. Shut your mouths, leave the game, stay away from the stadium, and don't even bother watching another Bengals game ever again if you're not going to support Jake Browning. Because you're a coward. Point blank, you're a coward. And any of you Bengals fans who think it's cool to get into all these fights in the stands, like I saw yesterday, Barstool Sports posted one of them. And all you guys still want to get involved in internet fights, you guys do in Cincinnati. I mean, now you guys are attacking Jaguars fans. I mean, forget about Chiefs fans or Ravens fans. Bengals fans are attacking Jaguars fans. For what reason? For what reason? You won the game. That's all that matters. Don't attack fan bases on the Minnesota. If you want to attack a fan base, go ahead and be a coward. Show your true colors out on the internet. Show your true colors out in person. And just act and just continue the way you do. Because you're true. I mean, everybody in the internet world, everyone out here, yours truly being one of them, already saw what you're capable of when you had that fight in the stands yesterday, and what you're capable of, how you carry yourselves from losing the 2022 AFC title game all the way through the 2023 season to the garbage excuses you used why you guys missed the playoffs last year with the false accusations of Kansas City Chiefs folding on purpose to prevent the Bengals going to the playoffs, to what happened yesterday. All you guys need to look at yourselves in the mirror big time. Support Jake Browning, back Jake Browning. It's not whether it leads to wins or losses, it's irrelevant right now. Just support him and back him if you're a true fan. I have more NFL shows. I'll be talking about that later. Now, from the bad of the Cincinnati to the great. Actually, this took place on September 11th of 40 years ago, but due to the fact that it's 9/11, I made the decision not to do a podcast on 9/11 to honor the situation, which everybody knows that is. We know what it was. But it was 40 years ago on that day at Riverfront Coliseum, a landmark number was reached. It was number 4192. And you Cincinnati fans know what it is. The day Pete Rose surpassed Ty Cobb to become the hit king. Probably the most electric moment, not just in Cincinnati sports, but we talk about Cincinnati sports in Cincinnati, number one. And it's not even close. I mean, the legacy solidified Pete Rose as the hit king. You can talk about his transgressions off the field. I won't use my platform for it. You guys go ahead and use yours. Don't drag me into it. But we talk about this. It was a 57-year-old record that was broken. It was September 11th, 1985. We know the story. Eric Show was the pitcher. Pitch the hit by Rose into the gap in the alley between left and center field. And when he got first base, fireworks, and Riverfront Coliseum was just electric. Later on, it was revealed that Pete March shot the then owner presented Pete Rose with a license plate with the letters PR4192, which was Pete Rose 4192 with a hit record that belongs to him. We can coin a lot of things. We talk about monumental moments and we talk about historical moments, and we know how polarizing Pete Rose is. That record is going to have his name attached to it more than likely forever. Because we talk about what that night 40 years ago. I mean, you talk about a city in recent years has had all kinds of heartbreak for many reasons. I can elaborate on those. And Cincinnati's had their own share of iconic athletes, but maybe in terms of iconic moments in Cincinnati, in terms of iconic moments, nothing topped what took place 40 years ago when Pete Rose, grit and grind, Charlie Hustle, however you want to call it, surpassed 4192 to break the 57-year-old record of Ty Cobb. And a record that's probably never going to be touched because the consistency, the hard work, and the dedication that Pete Rose put into the game of baseball to get to that magical number and to break that record says a lot about the hard work Pete Rose put in. And it was 40 years ago. The electricity, the anticipation going into that night in Riverfront Coliseum, it was nothing that the city ever witnessed in the history of its sports tenures. Yes, they had the two AFC title game wins in 81 and 89 when they beat the Chargers and the Bills respectively to advance to the Super Bowls. Edit that, 81 and 88. But that doesn't even pale in comparison to what happened when Pete Rose, homegrown talent, hometown kid, surpassed Ty Cobb's 57-year record to get to that magic number of 4192. And a record that's never going to be touched. You can talk about everything with him in and out of the field, rightfully and understandably so. But I will tell you this: he's always going to be that record will always belong to him, and will always be the hit king because of it. God rest his soul, Pete Rose. Shout out Robert Hollingsworth. Long time no see. Hope you're doing good out there. I just saw you pop in here. Anyone wants to pop in? Go ahead. I'll give you a shout out. Actually, I would talk about one more thing of the NFL before I go into boxing. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about this because we're having this discussion again. Every Saturday before NFL games take place, there's always a release of NFL fines for some of the silliest stuff and some of the silliest numbers I've ever encountered. I mean, I can point to a whole list of them, but guess what? They're basically being fined for playing football. That's all it is. I thought last year and the year before that, the fines were soft. This year, the fines were even softer. I mean, the player just had a hand grenade taunt, and he was fined for it. And now two players from Philadelphia were fined because he made a tackle 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. I mean, what's the question I have is, again, what is the criteria for these fines? Why are we finding these guys? And is a lot of the stuff really fine-worthy? I mean, I get the NFL as a cash cow, but why are you finding guys for stuff that's basically the equivalent of football plays? I remember 2 years ago, Jalen Warren, who was protecting the ball, keeping his helmet down because that's what you're taught, was fined his whole paycheck on two separate occasions. What do you get out of finding players? Numbers like this, what do you gain out of it? Anything? The players want to. They can go to an arbitrator or rule it and probably win the money back. But is it really worth it? But it's another case of how soft the NFL continues to get day in, day out, week in, week out when it comes to this. Players getting fined for the most egregious things. The only thing I agree with, maybe I agree with is Jalen Carter's fine, but that fine and suspension was softer than Sharman. But these NFL fines, the dollars, the reasons, we need a clear-cut explanation because it's like the equivalent of you standing on the field. You're getting fined for just standing on the field. That's the problem with the NFL. And it's probably going to be more of that all season long. All you got to say is they're just being fined for playing football because that's all they're being fined for. Sports leagues have become very soft these days. Now to the world of boxing. A terrific night Sunday, and actually more like Sunday afternoon in Japan. It was early Sunday morning here in the States due to the 12-hour difference. it was Naoya Inoue showing why he's the best fighter pound for pound, not named Alexander Usyk, by just dominating and just schooling a tough fighter named MJ Akhmadaliev. I'm not sure if I pronounced that name right. I mean, didn't get the knockout, but but by the end of the third round, you started to see MJ get into the defensive posture. And when you get to a defensive posture like that, you're basically just saying, I'll concede. Because exactly what happened. Not saying he didn't try, because he tried a couple times. Actually had the right hook with seconds remaining that had Inoue stunned. But in the middle of all that, he got outworked. He got outskilled by the great Naoya Inoue. And Naoya Inoue showed the world once again why he's probably at best and at worst the second best fighter in the world behind Alexander Usyk. And he proved it once again. MJ was as tough as nails, pretty darn good fighter, one-time unified belt holder. Naoya Inoue just made him look like he was ordinary. And we had morons in the boxing community who accused Naoya Inoue of ducking this guy. He got him in the ring. He shut him out, basically. I think those people need to shut up when it comes to Naoya Inoue and the ducking talk, because anything he does, everything is just effortless for him. I mean, last thing I thought maybe MJ would give a better fight than this, but it shows to show the greatness of Naoya Inoue, because he can take someone of that guy's caliber and made him look novice and almost look like an amateur. I mean, that's how near perfect he was Sunday afternoon over there in Japan. And now where he's to go from here? Likely against the fake featherweight champion Nick Ball before the All Japan showdown with Junto Natakani, which Inoue said in the post-fight microphone he wants that fight in 26. Makes all the sense in the world. Question is, who's going to be the toughest competitor for him in the division? Only one who comes closest is Espinoza at 26, but that's it. Because I know when he goes to 30 or 35, his body's filled up at this point. But outside of Espinoza, unless Inoue just crashes and burns, he's going to be a hard beat for anyone. And if you don't appreciate or respect what Naoya Inoue has done for his career, your best bet is to stop following boxing, because you're a bona fide coward. Naoya Inoue is as damn good as it gets. Best fighter not named Alexander Usyk. Probably could say better than Alexander Usyk. Some people give him that distinction. Don't have a problem with it. But if this is not good enough for you for what Inoue is, stop being a fight fan. Take up ballet, because you're a coward otherwise. The guy's just a genuine great of this era. And I conclude with genuine greats. What took place over 47 years ago today at the New Orleans Superdome in Louisiana. It was the rematch between Muhammad Ali and Leon Spinks. This was a rematch of Spinks getting the decision win, and everyone's calling for Ali to retire and calling for Ali's head. And actually those around him left him. Ali wanted this rematch, wanted it immediately, and wanted it bad. And when you talk about going to the well one last time on your downturn and on the way out, Muhammad Ali did it in the Louisiana Superdome against the man who beat him to win the heavyweight title, Leon Spinks, getting a unanimous decision win. I can point to multiple reasons why the guy is the greatest. I mean, I probably stuff so much room for it. Not even the national debt could top the amount of reasons I can surpass Muhammad Ali as the greatest. When you have this kind of a performance, going to the well, digging deep, finding a way to rise to the top for one last time as you're declining, and Ali's health was starting to decline. It was evident. He said it started with the Shavers fight. When you start to decline and the health was starting to deteriorate the way Ali's was, as he was heading to this rematch with Leon Spinks, for him to gather himself, for him to pull himself up together for one last time, and when everyone was basically saying for the guy to just simply retire after the Spinks loss the first time, for him to do this and become the lineal 3-time world heavyweight champion shows you why the guy's the greatest. I can point to all the examples. I mean, Making Sonny Listen Quit, The Rumble in the Jungle, the trilogies with Frazier and Norton. But on your way down to solidify greatness and to make history on your way out on your decline to do what Muhammad Ali did to Leon Spinks 47 years ago today at the Louisiana Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. That's why he's the greatest. I mean, Leon Spinks, for a guy who had a few fights, I mean, a very decorated amateur career. Part of the 1976 Olympic team with Sugar Ray Leonard and his brother Michael. Of course, shocked Ali. And, of course, lost this rematch. Got a couple more title shots down the line. A lot of people hold this against Muhammad Ali for some real reason, which requires a real explanation. I mean, I get it. Leon Spinks had like 8-9 fights. But Muhammad Ali, he knew the clock was ticking. He knew it was ticking. But on his way out, you can't just... Actually, let me back up here for a second. I apologize. Inside here, if you're young and you feel you can do it, go out there and do it. That's what Muhammad Ali did. Leon Spinks, and everybody thought Spinks would do it again because everyone was calling for Ali's head, and Ali just looked listless when Spinks beat him the first time. For him to gather himself up, go to the well, find it in his heart, find it in his soul, that last extra ounce of energy to dig deep, to pull it out the way he's done it before on many occasions at the biggest stages of them all, shows you why he's the greatest. It's one thing to do it against anyone, but to do it for the grand prize of them all at the time, the heavyweight championship of the world, at a time when everyone was calling for him to be done, and those around him just left him. Even Freddie Pacheco, who called the rematch at ringside, said the guy should have retired after the Spinks fight. I don't know why he's fighting. To dig deep the way he did and just find it within himself to rise to the top once again, to have the distinction of heavyweight champion of the world. That's why Muhammad Ali is the greatest. And he proved it again 47 years ago today at the New Orleans Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana, when he beat Leon Spinks in the rematch to win the heavyweight championship. And maybe if he would have been smart to retire after this fight, it would have been the perfect storyline. I mean, everyone calling for your head, everyone calling for you to give it up, dig deep for one last time, and just rise to the top. Of course, we know the story with him after that, but doesn't diminish what he did. And history was made as he was the first ever to win the lineal heavyweight championship 3 times when he got his revenge on Leon Spinks 47 years ago today at the New Orleans Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. We can coin the phrase GOAT all we want. I mean, all sports have their own GOATs. I mean, we know. The NFL, we have Joe Montana, Dan Marino, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Barry Sanders, Walter Payton, Jerry Rice, Randy Moss. The NBA, we have Michael Jordan, Wilt Chamberlain, Kobe Bryant, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Bill Russell, Oscar Robertson. Major League Baseball, point to a bunch of those also. Sandy Koufax, Babe Ruth, Hank Aaron. Of course, hockey, maybe the universal among Wayne Gretzky. You could probably argue the GOAT of all GOATs because of what he did in and out of the ring and given everything he went through was Muhammad Ali. And he sealed it 48 years ago today at the New Orleans Superdome when he regained the heavyweight championship from Leon Spinks. And we can coin the phrase GOAT to everyone. Everyone likes to call everybody a GOAT. I mean, fine with me. But you better have the pedigree and the background to have the claim. And Muhammad Ali stamped it because he had the pedigree and the background when he made history in Louisiana when he got the belt back from Leon Spinks. May God rest the souls of both Muhammad Ali and Leon Spinks. There was only one Muhammad Ali. He came, he saw, he conquered. And as I said, I've got the quote about the rent paid on earth. If someone could help me out with that. His rent was paid in full, and now he's at the gates of heaven. And his legacy lives on maybe long after I'm gone from this earth. Tells you the greatness and the impact of the great Muhammad Ali. Deeper show I've had over the last several weeks. Got a lot of good things coming up here soon for myself. I'll touch on those as time comes by. Because, everyone I guess, wants me to be part of the teams. As I said, I'm not a hard find. You can reach out to me. I'll even give you my personal email. You can reach out to me there. I'll even give you my personal phone number. You can reach out to me there. I'm not a hard guy to find. I mean, I don't use the block button. That's for people who can't take the stuff. Mike Tyson fans and Bengals fans. I mean, I'm here. You're more than welcome to contact me. I engage in discussion. I don't mind disagreeing discussion because, that's what debates are, isn't it? I mean, if we agree on everything, is it really a debate? So, I mean, that's what it's come down to. I mean, I'm gonna take the show to bigger and better platforms down the line. Taking my show on the road for several occasions. I'm just going to be a one-person show. I mean, I don't care if I have 2 people, 4 people, or 0 people watching me. It's going to be on the road because it's when you start to evolve, and when you start to increase in what's going on around you, and you start to feel you're almost at a point where you've outgrown certain things, maybe it's time to expand, evolve, and see what's out there in the big picture, because that's what I'm going to start doing. And for everyone out there, I do appreciate it. I don't brag about views. You guys are the views. I don't go into these platforms and say I had 700 views on the show because it does nothing for me. You guys are the watchers. You guys are the most awesome group of people I've ever dealt with, whether it be in person or on the platforms. And I'm going to continue to be me. I mean, I can be a little outlandish, but one thing you'll get out of me, I won't be afraid to tell you the truth to your face, whether you like it or not. And if I said, along, if you have a problem with it, fine. That's what it comes down to. The website's coming up soon. Other platforms I'm going to be coming up with also, especially the NFL field and boxing fields. Actually, boxing is still going to be historical because after the fake super fight Saturday night, there's nothing worth talking about. Because that fake super fight Saturday night is likely the last super fight, if you will, we'll probably see in the States ever again. Because we know what's happened to boxing in the States. So I'll be talking, if you want to have me for historical boxing shows, have at it. Want me for some more NFL shows, have at it. I have, of course, a few more this week where I'll be touching more on the Bengals situation. And that's how I'm going to roll. I mean, I can't thank everybody enough. I mean, I said, you like it? Great. You don't like it? That's fine too. I'm not going to do the happy dance and celebrate that you're going to like it. I'm not going to call you every name of the book or shed tears that you don't, because everyone's entitled to their opinion. That's one thing I learned being 47 years old. The things you learn when you get older. Sometimes you got to think big, and it's growing, and it's growing, and it's growing, which means more opportunities and more options. That's where I'm headed with this. And on that note, I will wrap up this edition of Sirhan on X on this 15th of September, 2025. Everybody in Cincinnati, once again, back Jake Browning, support Jake Browning. I mean, forget about wins or losses. It's going to be a fun ride. I'll admit, it's going to be a fun ride. I mean, what happens? We'll find out. But don't back away from Jake Browning. Support him. If you missed any of the show tonight, or any of the ones in the past, you can, if you have the audio platforms such as iHeartRadio or Apple or Spotify, you can listen to those anytime, as this show will be uploaded once this is done. And as I tell everyone at this time of night, you always make self-care your number one priority in all walks of life. You take care of yourself first, all the good things come your way. Stay true to yourself, good things will follow. If you don't take care of yourself first, then nothing else is going to matter, because you better focus on you and you first. And that'll wrap up this show for the night. I will be back tomorrow night. And we had a fake super fight Saturday night. 44 years ago tomorrow night, a real super fight I'm going to talk about. And you want to talk about super fight? This one was. And it was the middle of a golden era like none other. Have a good rest of the night. Enjoy yourselves. Take care. God bless. Enjoy the evening. And I will see you tomorrow.